Hey, here's some assorted thoughts that I've had over the years about my favourite game of all time, Star Fox 64.
Stick around for a while.
Starting off with the prologue to the game, it states that both James and Peppy were captured during the investigation of Venom, with Peppy barely managing to escape. For years, I've wondered what went down during that time. How long was Peppy in captivity? Did the two of them meet with Andros face to face? How exactly did Peppy escape? After Peppy escapes Venom, he's seen flying towards a green planet. Initially, I assumed it was Corneria, but was a bit confused as to why it was green. It turns out that in the Japanese version of the game, that planet is stated to be Papatoon, which is Fox's home planet. But the funny thing here is that the game's art director, Takaya Imamura, stated that Papatoon is in another system, 10,000 light years from Lylat. For reference, Proxima Centauri, our closest star, other than the Sun, is only about 4.25 light-years away, so Peppy flew all that distance in his still critically damaged Arwing. Another interesting thing from the prologue is the part where it says, Andros has again invaded the Lylat system. General Pepper has turned to a new Star Fox team headed by Fox McCloud to save Corneria and free the Lylat system once again. Is this implying that there was a previous Lylat War in between the mission to Venom and the events of the main game? Do those lines make more sense in the Japanese version? Next, Fox McCloud is the reason that I love foxes. That's pretty much all I have to say on that. In the Fortuna level, if you beat the Starwolf team, Fox flies into the base to defuse the bomb. But when and how did Fox learn to defuse bombs? I guess it was back at the academy or something. Now, I think most Star Fox fans are aware of the influence that Thunderbirds had on the Star Fox games, but there's another puppet sci-fi series that I think may have also been an influence. Starfleet, or X-Bomber as it's known in its original Japanese dub, has a few similarities to Star Fox that I've noticed, such as the X-Bomber having a very similar shape to the Great Fox, especially if you turn it upside down, a mentor character with sunglasses that says, "Trust your instincts," and even a giant robot that forms out of 3 ships like the Great Commander from the first game. Now, I'm pretty sure Starfleet hasn't been mentioned in any Star Fox related interviews, so this is just pure speculation. Also, since I probably won't get another opportunity to say this, I have a feeling that if we saw more of the Area 6 Commander and Cayman, they'd have a similar relationship to Makara and Orion from that show. My earliest memories of Star Fox 64 are of watching my dad and sister play it. I still remember when my dad first managed to beat the Meteo boss, and seeing the introduction of the Star Wolf team for the first time, which blew my mind. My dad was no match for them, and kept on getting shot down over and over. One afternoon, when I was alone in the lounge, I managed to survive Fortuna, defeating all Star Wolf members other than Wolf himself. Disappointed, I continued on to the next level, Sector X. When I reached Spyborg, it creeped me out, and the distorted theme that plays after its death fake-out didn't help. I can't exactly remember what happened after it knocked Slippy to Titania, but it definitely ended with me shutting the game off. My fear of Spyborg actually put me off the game for quite a while. I remember one time my sister got out the N64 games. I insisted I didn't want to play Star Fox 64. At some point after this, I discovered a book that was packed away called N64 A to Z Cheats, which featured an unofficial guide to Star Fox 64. By reading this book, I found out about the alternate paths, and it made me want to play the game again. But it also made me afraid of some parts of the game. I remember shutting the system off before stages like Sector Y, Solar, and Venom 1 before I could muster up the courage to play them. Before I found out about the alternate exits, during the part on Corneria when the attack carrier flies overhead, I assumed that it was actually Granger in some kind of aircraft mode, like a transformer. I sometimes wonder, if it wasn't for that book, would I have ever gotten back into Star Fox? If you look at the front of the Forever Train's locomotive, you can see that it's equipped with a cowcatcher, which means that there must be wildlife on Macbeth that could stray onto the railway lines. On the topic of the train, as pointed out by my dad, its crash is eerily similar to the Ord Mantell hovertrain crash in Shadows of the Empire, which was released a year earlier.
Also, given the effectiveness of those buffers, Macbeth must have outsourced the construction of its railway to the island of Sodor.
Finally, I want to talk about the versus stages, because there's something about them that feels off. They have an air of emptiness and lifelessness, like something out of a strange dream. The tone of the music that plays in versus mode also adds to that feeling, especially in Sector Z, since it looks a bit different to the level in the main game, with you being under darker lighting, being completely surrounded by the fiery gas clouds, and there being some giant stars in the background. Adding to the dreamlike quality is the fact that you don't automatically U-turn when you reach the end of the map. Instead, you continue flying forward and just teleport to the opposite side of the stage. So, I hope you enjoyed my miscellaneous ramblings on this amazing game. I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.
You got bombs, and you gotta use them wisely.